Dear listeners, today I would like to talk to you about something about the entire Middle East and the crisis unfolding in the Middle East, especially Iran and its influence during in the entire Middle East. As you know that Middle East is going through crisis not for 10 years or 20 years, probably for hundreds of years. After 1920, after the fall of Ottoman Empire, Middle East has been in turmoil for a long period of time. It has been the battlefield of Western powers for a number of reasons. The first reason is this Middle East, the North African countries, the territories, and also the Middle East have been the center of all civilizations the world has ever seen. It is a prevalent conception that whoever controls Middle East controls the world. We have seen that before now, right now America is the dominant power in the Middle East, and before America it was the British and the French for a particular period of time, and before the French it was the Ottoman, and when Ottoman controlled the entire Middle East, Ottoman was the superpower. As it is a prevalent opinion and prevalently held view among the world politicians that if you can control Middle East, if you can control the territory, the countries around Mediterranean, and then you control the whole world. It is a prevalent opinion, and then for the political game and to control the entire world, you may tell it is the economic corridor or whatever it is. To control this territory, world powers have engaged or have been engaging themselves in war, in conflict for a long period of time. Now America controls Middle East except 2 or 3 countries, and the countries they don't control are first of all Iran. It is once America and Iran were very good allies against the Soviet. Iran was America's #1 ally in the Middle East against the Soviet expansion, and right now Iran and Syria, to some extent Lebanon, and to some extent Iraq are not a slave, I should say, or are not subservient to American imperialistic tendencies in the entire region. And Iran has been at the loggerhead with US for a long period of time. So has been Syria. Syria has been supported by Soviet Union. Syria is a socialist country, and for ideological reasons or for some other reasons, and for its opposition, Syria is opposed to Israel and Israeli expansionism in the Middle East. Israel is controlling or occupying Golan Heights, which belong to Syria, against all international law. Syria has been supported by Soviet Union and for a long period of time. It's a dictatorship, you may tell, socialist dictatorship, whatever it is, but Israel doesn't like Syria for a number of reasons. America doesn't like Syria for a number of reasons. That's why America wanted to cause some problem in Syria. It wanted to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, the political leader or the president of Syria, is still the president of Syria. And how did it do so? It wanted to do so in many ways, but it could not. It wanted to do so through economic sanction and through creating subversive activity, political activity in Syria. It had failed. After that, it launched smear political and political campaign and conflict on that country. It supplied weapons to some opposition fighters, and it increased the flow of foreign fighters to Syria to fight against Bashar al-Assad, to overthrow him from the power, because Syria is an ally to Iran, Hezbollah, and also to Russia. Russia has a naval base outside of its territory. It has some it has some bases in another countries, but in the Mediterranean, in Middle East, it has only one base, and that is in Syria. So America doesn't want Russia to have a base in Syria, and how can they do so? If they can control Syria, then Syria will be theirs. And also the entire Middle East will be theirs. Israel will live peacefully. Israel will never have to return the Golan Heights. It has been the political game for a long period of time, but the political game didn't succeed because Iran strongly came in support of Bashar al-Assad. It came with money, weapon, political influence, whatever. Later, Putin was convinced by the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani to lead an aerial bombardment on the rebel fighters to turn the fight in favor of Bashar al-Assad. So America, its allies, Western allies, the whole program was started by France, Britain. but as you know that France, Britain do not do anything without the approval of United States of America and Israel. Whatever you may tell, that France and Britain started it. Turkey wanted to gain politically huge things from his Turkey, which lost its imperial territory near about 100 years ago, 10 decades ago, wanted to get a lot of opportunity, wanted to get some benefit out of this conflict. That's why Turkey supported rebel groups. It trained them, gave them weapon. It allowed Islamist fighters or ISIS fighters go through its territory. It didn't stop them because it wanted to gain something, and it wanted to invade Syria and then annex parts of Syria to its territory, which Turkey did near about 100 years ago, and for a long period of time it did so in past. So that's what happened, and then West has been beaten back by Iran. West has been beaten back by Iran brutally. It has also been beaten back by Russia and also by Syria. So the camping of the West has failed. The West cannot accept it. That's why it needs to blame somebody, and it needs to punish somebody. And who can they punish? West has accepted the defeat that it had faced, and Iran has won, but the West, especially the European countries, are much more pragmatic than the the United States of America, which actually sold its soul, its foreign policy to the Israelis, and Israelis has been brutally beaten by the Iranians and also by the Iranian proxies, Hezbollah and the Hezbollah fighters, and also some Shia militia fighters recruited from Afghanistan to Pakistan to Iraq and many other territories. So Israel has been beaten back severely. Israel has been defeated, and it cannot accept it. Now what it wants to do, it wants to create chaos. Saudi Arabia has also been defeated, so have its Arab allies, UAE, also Egypt. In Bangladesh we know it as Mysore. So these territories or these countries have been defeated by Iran and the Iranian backed militias. They cannot accept it. That's why they want to take revenge on Iran. Iran is a country which has been under Western economic sanction for a long period of time, but it has achieved significantly in terms of its own defense, and it is one of the few countries which can stand up against the Western hegemony and imperialistic tendency, the arrogancy which the Iranians try to call. The Iranians think that the Americans are arrogant power, so is the British, and so are some other European countries, and Iranians want to take back their own country. They want to determine their own future. They do not want to listen to the others and do not want to listen to the lecture of the West. That is what Iran is all about. It has been successful in creating its own sphere of influence around its territory. It is now controlling Iraq. Iraq is entirely under the control of Iran. It has been the dominant power in Lebanon for a long period of time, since 1980s, when the Lebanon Shia movement was created, the Hezbollah was created, and Hezbollah defeated Israel. The only war Israel ever got defeated by any Arab or any Middle East powers was certainly by the Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been successful in defeating the Israelis back in 2006, and Israel couldn't even imagine that they would get this kind of severe resistance. They could face this kind of severe resistance from any Arab militia group, which is Hezbollah. And then Iran is right now controlling, as I mentioned, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, and to some extent the new country Yemen. But the Saudis, the Arabs, the Saudi Arabia, which I never like, I don't like Saudis at all, the Saudis cannot accept it, and they want to create havoc. That's why they are funneling money, they are funneling weapon and intelligence to create chaos in Iran, which led to the Iranian protest and which led to some kind of inflation in the Iranian economy, and then also in the popular protest in that country. That's all for today. I will complete the discussion on Iran and Middle East the other day. Thank you.